And welcome, everybody, once again to the Undefined Blitz right here on undefinedradio.com. Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in. As look, championship weekend is behind us. We know who's going to Super Bowl 57 now. And, oh boy, hooray. Cheerio. I don't know what to say about it.
It's the top two teams from both conferences.
The Niners-Eagles game was probably the bigger letdown of the two, just because it wasn't as competitive as we thought. Once Brock Purdy went out, 6 snaps in?
Yeah.
6 plays in, I think, whatever it was for them. Same difference. But, yeah, it was like, oh, crap.
Yeah, he injured his elbow on his throwing arm.
Yeah.
They bring in Josh Johnson. He promptly fumbles the football. Also suffered a concussion.
Yeah.
So then their choices were put Brock Purdy back in the game or run Kyle Juszczyk, their fullback, out there at quarterback.
Yep.
They opted with Brock Purdy. At one point, he goes over to Kyle Shanahan and tells him, I can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
I can't.
I literally can't move this arm.
And so they were in for just a long, hard day. They were up against it from the time that game started.
Yeah. Yeah. Eagles got, well, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but it certainly would be a lot more competitive.
Oh, absolutely.
So it just gave the Eagles kind of a walk-in to the championship game. They really haven't had to struggle at all.
No, they haven't. And then, of course, every time they showed Jimmy Garoppolo on the sidelines, he's smiling ear to ear.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He's like, oh, well, I'm out. See you guys later.
That's right. This is what you chose.
But as you were saying, though, the Eagles really haven't had a hard time in this postseason.
I think this is the weakest the NFC has been in years, it seems like.
I don't even think that it was weak. Just the 49ers already being on their third-string quarterback leans into favor for the best team in the conference.
I think so, too.
The Giants were the 6th seed. Like, no one expected anything from them.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I mean, though. The Vikings were weak. The Vikings truly outplayed their coverage or outkicked their coverage,
yeah.
I think, as far as their record goes.
Yeah, they were solid to proficient offense.
Yeah.
And then they were a middling to poor defense.
But they were not that great. The Giants exposed them for everything. I mean, as if the Cowboys didn't already do it, because we kind of saw what the Cowboys were. And I think we saw that throughout the playoffs on the NFC side. Again, San Francisco suffered because you can't go down to your 8th-string quarterback and expect to be anything.
You can't be in a situation where you're seriously considering putting your fullback at quarterback.
No.
And expect to win and go on to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's just not going to happen. And so then that left us with the Chiefs and the Bengals. And this game is being dissected in about as many ways as you can dissect a football game, with blame being thrown everywhere. If you are not on the Chiefs bandwagon, for sure, is being thrown. The official memes that I've seen is insane.
One with the Patrick Mahomes, Ron Torbert jersey swap.
Oh, that's my favorite one. That's absolutely my favorite one.
The ones that are saying Ron Torbert was named the AFC Championship game MVP.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But yeah, there were a lot of calls that really screwed the Bengals in this
There
one.
were a lot of them.
Now, when you get to that Joseph Osai call, the roughing the passer on Pat Mahomes that put the
that
Chiefs
wasn't a bad call.
It wasn't a bad call. My problem with the call is that Burrow, just minutes earlier, got absolutely blasted late.
And nothing.
And got no call at all.
That's right.
So you shouldn't be cherry picking it. Like, if you're going to call it one way, call it that way for both teams.
That's right.
So that was just preferential treatment with the game on the line, which I think is kind of inexcusable. Not that I think that Pat Mahomes got a favor. Like, he got the call he deserved.
Oh, yeah. It was truly, you can't do that.
It should have just been called for Burrow as well.
That's right. That's where the problem comes in at. But yeah, it was a rough day. Now look, we knew that the Bengals offensive line was in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, they had 2 of their 5 starters.
That's right. So we knew that was going to be a problem. And Kansas City's defense, to their credit, exploited that. Because early in that game, it was tough. It looked like, oh, this might be a blowout. But Cincinnati was there all game long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were in it till the very end. And the thing that boggles my mind, though, is it's not like the Chiefs have a world-beating offensive line either.
No.
Like, they have a skilled left tackle with Orlando Brown Jr., and then they've got a good center in Creed Humphrey. But you can beat their left guard, their right guard, and the right tackle.
I was disappointed in the lack of creativity with the defensive game plan.
Trying to get pressure on Mahomes, who was down
with a
to
bad
one.
wheel.
Yeah.
I would have sent everybody all time those first few series just to blast him a couple times, to put him on his heels to go, I got to make a choice here. I got to make a business decision. And they never put him to that choice.
Right.
All right. They let Patrick Mahomes still be Patrick Mahomes when they didn't have to. At some point, you probably need to eat a few first downs just to prove a point that we're going to hit you. You're going to run. I might get a late hit call here, and it might be very well earned, but you're going to pay every time you cross that line. You're going to get stuck.
Yeah, I think
they don't do that.
That should have been the game plan for them. They have a decent enough secondary, minus Eli Apple, and which boggles my mind because all Eli Apple has done since he got drafted by the Giants, I think it was.
It was the Giants.
Remember draft night, he was chirping. His mom was chirping. He got killed for that. And then when he was with the Giants, he was getting crushed all the time, just getting burned all the time. Still chirping.
Yep.
And then
you haven't really done anything.
Then he gets to the Bengals. He's not the premier corner. That's Mike Hilton.
Yep.
For the Bengals. Honestly, the safeties are the strength of that
Yeah.
secondary.
Oh yeah.
Eli Apple's probably the 4th or 5th best player in their secondary. He does all that chirping. Finally, after the Chiefs win the game, everybody jumps right on Eli Apple's mom's Twitter account to the point that she deactivated her account.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's a little well earned.
I think it was too.
But now that we've seen the Bengals and Chiefs 2 years in a row in the AFC title game, both years in Kansas City, both years a good game, with late game heroics happening. Now we know that Joe Burrow is entering the last year of his rookie deal. His 5th-year option will get picked up.
Yeah.
So he'll have 2 more years on this deal. But he's got to get an extension soon.
Yes, he does.
Do you think the Bengals, who are notorious for not spending money,
do
you think the Bengals will do the wise thing and lock him up long term, which the agents hate? But if you're trying to really be one of the greatest of all time, you do what Patrick Mahomes did. Mahomes signed a 10-year, $450 million deal.
That's right.
Which at the time people said was a kind of team friendly because you break down the numbers over the years. And then you have to extrapolate that against the fact that in just a couple of years, Patrick Mahomes will only be like the 10 to 15 in highest paid quarterbacks.
Sure.
And that's going to look more team friendly than it ever has before. If the Bengals can do a deal like that for Joe Burrow.
Oh, here we go.
But if the Bengals can do it, well, let me finish this thought.
Go ahead. I'm going to get this set up.
If the Bengals can do something like that for Joe Burrow, I think we're looking at a situation where the Bengals and the Chiefs will be playing each other a lot, either in the AFC playoffs, if not specifically the AFC title game over the next 10 years.
No, and I think you're right about that. And I think that's probably what we're going to see more and more of right there. And we're just going to bring this young man on in with us.
Hey.
What's up, Marvin?
Hey, what up?
Yeah,
I'm sure y'all hear me, Katie.
Oh, yeah. We got you, dude.
Okay.
I got a mess up here, though, is what I got. I don't know.
Man, look, don't feel bad. I got a mess over here too. You must forget. It's show week.
Show week.
It is show week all over the place. I had to jump on with y'all because later on tonight I'm going on because I told you I was going on Monday instead of Tuesday.
Oh, that's right, because Princess has her birthday dinner tomorrow night.
That is correct, but man,
if the ice holds off.
Man, you're right. If the ice holds off, that is ever so true. But man, look, I had to jump on here. Because y'all were talking about yesterday's game, and boy, we watched. Man, you already know it, man. Look, we watched both of the games down in my partner's prime house. Man, look, San Francisco 49ers, I just got to give them all the kudos because they tried. They went through 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, if you look at it on the flip side, the officiating was horrible. It was just even worse in the Bengals game. My thing is, if you're gonna call it across the board. That's my whole thing about officials.
Yeah, exactly.
Call it across the board. I don't care winners, losers. I mean, we all knew that San Francisco had a puncher's chance But when Purdy went out and the other guy came in, he could have actually got something going because what y'all fail to realize is that they started to move the offense around Christian McCaffrey. And going into halftime, they weren't as bad. But when he took that blow to the back of the head, my partner was, man, look, Brian was sitting up here hollering about, man, Purdy got a man up. I said, man, that man ain't played for 6 games, 7 games. You got to look at that. But when he came back in and he he ran like 3 running plays. They were like, well, he back in, he can pass. No, he can't. Man, not Miami, because Miami has done it before. San Francisco became a one-dimensional team.
Absolutely.
And there was nothing they could do. Yeah. And the 2 screen passes he did though, I told him, I said, man, we had a friend of ours in high school that ran like a 5.7 in the 40. I told him the way Brock Purdy threw those 2 passes, he could have broke to that ball. That's how slow they came out. They came out with no velocity, and anybody could break on it. So that was letting you know right then that he couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Like there was a visible shot of Brock Purdy talking to Kyle Shanahan on the sideline, saying to him straight up, "It's like I can't throw the football because it was the elbow on his throwing arm.
Yep.
So he couldn't get the extension, the arm angle, the torque, as you said, the velocity on the football, and really, really limited an already kind of limited scheme for the 49ers. Because, I mean, at that point, they're down 21-7, and, they have to throw the ball coming out of the second half.
Yeah, and all you do is load up the box, you stop the run, the game is yours. And that's just what the Eagles did. They didn't have to score any more points.
But they did.
But they did.
Yeah, they did. But, I ain't too crazy about the Eagles because they play in the NFC East with the Cowboys and all that.
That's right.
But I had to tell a friend of mine, I said, I don't like the Eagles, but I sure enough don't like the way the Kansas City Chiefs won last night. Not the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs.
That old Snickers commercial.
Because that was some good old home cooking there. Because, you got to be kidding me. And did y'all point this out? Remember the third down play that they did twice?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start from there. I ain't going to start from the rest of the game. I want to start from right there. Because that's when the quote-unquote beepery started going on. See, I ain't got the horn. See, on my show, we got a horn when you drop some of them words. I don't see the horn on here.
No,
so I'm not
going to have one.
Oh, so I'm not going to drop none of them. So when that play came in, okay, they said second down was an incomplete pass, okay? When the referee came in and said the clock will start on my signal, I always thought it was an alternate official on the sideline. Reason why I say that is the head referee of that Kansas City game, he was on the sideline for the San Francisco and Dallas game last week. Why do I know that? Because that's one of the coolest referees I like. The one with the glasses, he a cool dude.
Oh, yeah. I know what
he was on the sideline last week. So why didn't the sideline referee notice the mistake he made and said something? Mind you, now they got headphones on. They have earpieces in their ears.
And don't they have officials now designated on each sideline, I think, now?
Exactly. So why didn't none of them catch it?
It's like we have more officials than we've ever had in the.
And they also have a direct line to New York now, too.
Yes.
To expedite missed calls.
You see what I'm saying? So all the people, and you couldn't tell me, once that play was ran, the other referee was running out on the field. You can't blow that whistle enough to where somebody can hear it. So now they had to play third down over with twice. And that led to that touchdown score for them. And then you turn around and from there, it really started getting iffy and dicey. Penalties that were not called on the Bengals, like that play that Patrick Mahomes ran for where he got the 15 yards.
Oh, yeah, we got shoved out of bounds.
Go look at that same play. Those penalties would have been negated had they called a holding call for him to break off.
Oh, yeah. That happens a lot early in the game, too, though.
Exactly. So, and the referee, they were not calling him.
And they weren't. There was 2 that was right in front of the official that were because that's at the start of the game. I was like, well, this is going to be rough for Cincinnati if they're not going to get even a call that's right in front of the official. And then as the game wore on, you saw those happen, like when JC was talking about earlier, when Joey Burrow got destroyed, just destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely blasted.
That should have been called. It probably keeps that drive going.
Well, it 100% keeps the drive going. It's an extra 15 yards and a free first down.
That's right. So that drive is still going. Who knows what could have happened there? But again, consistency is the thing. I mean, the one on what's his name?
On Asai.
Asai, yeah, out of bounds. That should have been called. That was truly.
Yeah.
The problem is on the other end of it, like JC said earlier, when that should have been an obvious.
Be consistent, man.
Yeah, be consistent.
Well, see, that's the thing. That late hit, yeah, that's 15 yards. We're not arguing that. I'm just arguing the fact that it should have been offsetting penalties because within that same play, you had the guy that was holding. How do we know he was holding? When he tried to do a spin move, you see him tugging at the jersey on live television, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
No.
I mean, come on, man.
Well, would that actually be considered offsetting penalties because a late hit is technically an after the play penalty?
But it happened. But see,
so
that's
you
the
can
thing.
back them up 10 and then penalize 15. So really, the Chiefs would get a net 5 plus a fresh set of downs.
Yeah.
But then again, but at the same time, net 5 still would have put him on the outside of field goal range.
It would have, but they would also have fresh set of downs. It's a defensive penalty. You got an untimed down.
But then again, you got to also think about the fact that how much time they had left too.
And it's Harrison Butker, and Harrison Butker is an absolute unit of a kicker.
No, he's not.
Yes,
no, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Look, no, he's not. Look,
he ain't Justin Tucker, but that dude that dude has hit money field goals his entire career.
You're right. He has, but I will say this here because I had a friend of mine on FanDuel. He put down $100 bet for everybody. I think that was in week 15 or 16 to score a touchdown and hit a field goal. One touchdown, one field goal. Guess who's the only team that didn't hit a field goal? Harrison Butker and the Kansas City Chiefs.
That happens.
Look, an isolated week 15 thing as opposed to a prime clutch situation.
To me, that was like the Brett Maher thing for Dallas. Everybody was giving him hell because of what happened in the last week, and they should have. But that dude was money. Money all season.
Yeah.
One of the best kickers in the NFL all season. I don't know what happened to him at the end of the season. That last game in the playoffs, but before then, no one can sit here and tell me that dude was not absolutely just dead on and earned his spot. That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, but you got to think about it with kickers, man. They got the hardest job. They got the hardest job. They got the hardest job. They the quickest one to get fired.
Harrison Butker also hit his career long this season too.
What did he hit?
He hit a 62-yarder.
I think he did hit it. I think he did. He hit a 62-yarder, and whoever the field goal kicker for Minnesota hit a 62. That's how they beat the.
No, that's not Tucker. That's it's not Carlson. He was at Minnesota before he went to the Raiders. Bailey is his name.
Was that Bailey?
Yeah.
Was that Dan Bailey?
Not Dan Bailey.
No, not Dan.
It's a different Bailey.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. They've moved on from that guy too. It's Greg Joseph. That's the guy's name. Greg Joseph, Minnesota kicker.
Jeez, I'm finna say because he hit a 62-yarder because that's how they beat the Giants.
Right.
At the end of regulation because they were in Minnesota and he got all his foot in that one. But man, I'm gonna tell you how crazy it is. Everybody that was at the house while we were watching the game, we didn't all decided for the Super Bowl we wearing referee shirts.
Yeah, you should. We
are wearing referee shirts, and when we beat her. His wife has already got yellow flags and red flags. So it's going to be flags flying everywhere this Sunday.
Look, I'm already mad about the Super Bowl because there ain't no way in hell I'm cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not doing it.
Oh, same. Yeah. We all pulling for the Chiefs in this one.
And they're making me have to root for the Chiefs, which I really don't want to do there either.
I would much rather root for the Chiefs than root for the Eagles.
Well, that's the thing. I'm going to have to root for the Chiefs. There's no question.
I was going to pull for whichever team came out of the AFC, regardless of who won between the Eagles and 49ers.
But I was really hoping it would be Joey B.
I really wanted. I wanted Burrow too. I did say that. And my partner was like, "So man, you gonna You gonna go with the Caucasian man over there? I said, man, shut up. That's exactly told him, man.
Come on.
I said, man, I
He's
told
half
him.
Caucasian.
Hey, I
He's
told him, I
half
said,
Caucasian. Half black.
no, he was talking about when I was talking about going for Joey Burrow.
Oh, I know what he's saying, but I mean,
Yeah,
Patty Mahomes he's half.
I told him, I said, man, shut up. That's exactly what I told him. I said, you don't want to hear that. I said, I said, you don't want to hear that. I said, first thing I told him was that in that game, well, I said the Super Bowl is going to be crazy. I'm talking about the show we got planned for that Sunday. It's going to be super. Oh my God, it is going to be hilarious. We already got one of my partners. I'm going to bring him on that Sunday. He's an NFL fan. Literally. What I mean by NFL fan, whoever wins, that's who hat he got on. Gotcha. That's who jersey he got on. That's who keychain he got on.
Those guys.
I called him out because when the Eagles won, he had on an Eagles keychain.
He don't even know what part of the country Philadelphia is.
Look, soon as the Chiefs won, he got on his hat. He got on his jersey, man. I told him, I said, man, look, you're going to have to make a decision. Man, I've been a Chiefs fan. Shut up.
Where's Kansas City at?
Man, look, I told him, say, look, is it in Kansas or is it in Missouri? What a stadium is? You tell me.
Look, because here's the thing. I got a friend of mine who said, oh, yeah, he's just rooting for Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. Like, dude, the only thing he even knew about KC was a barbecue sauce before he knew anything about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He knew nothing about Kansas City.
Man, look, it's only one person. It's only one person that I know that's a Chiefs fan, and that's my sister's husband. He's a diehard Chiefs. I'm talking about everything. When I had to go put up TVs in his house, it's Chiefs everything in there. That's the only Chiefs fan I know. Everybody else is just fair weather fans.
Bandwagon.
And then look, what make it so bad? My nephew, he's an Eagles fan.
Oh, sweet Lord.
So he was already hollering about. He got mad at me because when the Eagles won, I said, man, go ahead and turn it to the other game. Oh, we ain't going to watch the trophy presentation. I said, I don't care. The Cowboys won the trophy presentation. We're moving on to the next game. We're trying to watch it.
Oh, he's mad about that. But here's my problem. This is why I hate college football fans who watch NFL football, because it's not the same thing as being an NFL fan or a fan of a professional football team, right? Because they're just fans. So I'm so sick of hearing "Fly Eagles Fly" from people who don't even know what a Philadelphia Eagle is. They just don't even know Jalen Hurts is a quarterback. I remember Jalen Hurts from that other awesome football team before they got rid of him in college. He went to this other team. That's who I'm rooting for. And I love A.J. Brown. I do. But I'm still not rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to do it.
Man.
You're not a real NFL fan. If that's what you do, everything you say to me when it comes to the playoffs and the Super Bowl is invalid. Your opinion means nothing. Anything you say is just, it's nothing.
Look, I think
as Joey said in Friends, your point is moo. Right?
Yeah, it's like a cow's opinion.
Like a cow's opinion. It
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Look, it almost sounds like what I told a friend of mine, and I think I said this on the show last time I was on here. It was an Eagles and Giants game, and they asked me who was I picking week 1. I said, I'm not picking anybody. I didn't even pick that week. I really didn't. I was like, I couldn't stand either one of the teams. So I can understand truly what this week is going. Oh, this Super Bowl week is going to be crazy, ridiculous. Everybody that's talking about the Eagles are going to win their second. I told them, I said, all you Eagles fans that talking about y'all finna win y'all second Super Bowl. Guess what? Congratulations. Y'all still got 3 more to go to catch Dallas. You still got 3 more to go to catch San Francisco. You still got at least 1 more to go to catch Washington and 2 more to catch the Giants. So congratulations.
About that.
4 more to catch the Steelers, 4 more to catch the Patriots.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. So, you can holler "Fly Eagles Fly," but y'all still at the lowest of the lowest in the totem pole. So
I got to ask y'all this. Since how since how we're all Cowboy fans here, Kellen Moore is no longer the offensive coordinator for Dallas. He just got hired for San Diego. Mike McCarthy may be calling.
Or in Los Angeles.
Well, Chargers, man. Los Angeles Chargers. I'm so used to San Diego. But Moore's going to the Chargers.
Yeah, he's replacing former OC Joe Lombardi.
Yep, McCarthy might be calling plays in Dallas. Dan Quinn is staying in Dallas because Jerry Jones says this is where the great coordinators want to be because they know there's always a head coaching opportunity coming, which is an odd thing to say, first of all, with your head coach still there.
But not untrue.
But you're right, and it's not untrue. So there's a lot of craziness happening in Dallas right now. If we're talking conspiracy theories and craziness,
well,
what do you think is the game plan here? Because Dan Quinn, these head coaching options just don't come open. It's the second year in a row that Dan Quinn has decided, even though this year he actually went for more interviews and was working on setting this interview up with Denver before he made the decision to stay in Dallas. So if you're just putting on your tinfoil hat, getting all crazy, what do y'all think could be happening here?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. You know, I always tell y'all I sit in left field and I watch everything. First thing, right now, Dan Quinn is looking at the entire slate of the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? If you go back to 2019, because I had a friend of mine hit me up in the text and said, man, y'all going to miss Kellen Moore. I said, go back to 2019 when he was the quarterback's coach, and I think Linehan was calling the plays in that area.
Yeah.
That year, the Cowboys went to the playoffs, won a game. Dak took over for Tony in that system. They simplified that system, and Dak was able to prevail. He looked real good in that system. Now, when Kellen Moore took over for the next 3 years, he may have had the wins to go with it. Now, I take it back. The wins wanted to go with it because first year they went 6-10. That was the last year of Jason Garrett. Second year they went 8-8. And then from that you had the two back-to-back 12-win seasons. Now, I keep saying Kellen Moore's playbook is just like Tecmo Bowls, elementary. He only thinks pass, and not paying attention to the personnel that he has. So that's going to be, for me, the big key in San Diego is, see, I said San Diego too.
See? It's not that easy.
Los Angeles.
Not for us older folk. You'll get there.
Look, it's going to be an issue to where he's going to have to really look at his personnel. This should have been a learning experience in Dallas for him. Look at your personnel and set your offense up with the personnel that you have. Now, as far as Dallas, right now, I'm hoping Mike McCarthy brings somebody else in. I know he's like to call plays, a lot of stuff in Denver, but I do not want him to get comfortable in that position. Is he an offensive guru? He may be, he may not be. But, you know, I think that Super Bowl he won with Aaron Rodgers, he was calling plays. So I can't, you know, not say that he's not gonna get the job done. Now the Dan
but he
Quinn
also had
situation,
Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, you're right. He also had Aaron Rodgers. Now, with the Dan Quinn situation, him and staying in Dallas, I mean, he has if you look at the defense this year, that's scratch. Well, I ain't gonna say scratch. We look at the last couple of weeks of the body of work. Let's look at from when he came in this year all the way to the end. It was almost top 5 defense.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So for the body of work,
kept them in there.
The defensive part for the majority of games, for the part that everybody was fussing about, Dallas need to fix the defense. They did that.
Yeah,
it was the
started suffering losses in the secondary that really the defense kind of started lapsing a little bit. And they had LBE going out. Some of their interior was going out. I mean, they had some injuries that affected them towards the middle and third of the season. So
yeah, the middle and the third part of the season. Then, you know, once again going into the playoffs. I mean, sometimes you got to lay it in on the players, but overall, Dan Quinn, he would have had to go in and kind of revamp a lot of stuff, especially with the coaching jobs that was coming to him.
Yeah,
you know, some of the coaches.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so JC, what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna add on to Marvin's argument about the Cowboys almost being a top 5 defense because 2 of those top 5 defenses were the Bills and Bengals, and they only played 16 games. So naturally, the Cowboys did give up more yards than those 2 teams.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's fair to say that the Cowboys just by default are a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
But as far as Kellen Moore, I'm kind of conflicted on it.
I am
because
too,
while I do agree that he does have a very kind of elementary offense and he doesn't run a lot of misdirection or a lot of things to try to confuse the defense, by and large it has been an effective offense. Now this year I think the problem was that Jerry Jones did that thing that Jerry Jones does where he tries to do addition by subtraction. He sends off Amari Cooper. Now he was banking on CeeDee Lamb can replace Amari Cooper, and he was right. CeeDee Lamb can replace Amari Cooper.
You must have seen what I've seen today. And you finna say, "Ooh, you're right. I know where you're going. I know where you're going."
We're about to go with MG.
Yep.
That's right.
Michael Gallup cannot replace the production of CeeDee Lamb. And weirdly enough, you also need someone to replace Michael Gallup as that third wide receiver. And there was no one all year for that at all. I will give MG some credit because he does pull out those magical toe tap grabs in some real clutch times.
But he's not consistent.
He's not consistent, no, but there was no one to even be a reliable third target
option,
within that offense.
There was not.
Now look, you're right. You're right on that. And with the addition of T.Y., I wish they would re-sign him back because he would have helped veteran leadership. He would have been the one that I would have suspected to be more number 2 than Michael Gallup. Just because he has the experience. I think the games he came in, how he had to learn that system
it was just
so
too late
fast.
For him.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It was too late. Had you had him at the beginning of the season, now we're talking a whole nother tune now. Because I like Gallup, but if you go back to when it was Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, the reason why all 3 of them were able to shine was because each one of them had their times where they were able to get theirs, as we would say.
Yeah, because you couldn't double up on Amari because if you doubled up on Amari, he's going to kill you all day, and vice versa.
For sure.
Because you were scared, like, what do we do?
Amari's not the fastest guy in the world, but he is one of the most precise route runners.
Consistent route runner. I'm talking about, route running is crazy.
Because he will break off and snap a new route out of nowhere and just leave a defender clueless.
And all he did was go to Cleveland, have some 100-yard receiving games with some
Jacoby Brissett as quarterbacks.
I mean, so you can't tell me that he wasn't.
So to go back to my point, I don't know if getting rid of Kellen Moore will improve some of the mistakes that we saw offensively this year. Because while I think Kellen Moore is definitely culpable for some of that,
sure,
I think a lot of that was put on bad game management by Mike McCarthy.
Yep.
And I think another big aspect of that was just poor decision making by Dak Prescott in key moments.
Well, and the interceptions by and large are on Dak. There were a few that
not
weren't.
all of them. Some of them were just ricochet balls and drops that ended up being a tip drill or whatever.
There were some of those,
but there were plenty of just bad choices.
Awful choices that you can't make after forcing. And he said he had several interceptions on the same throw. He almost had it picked off the throw or 2 before. That was the crazy part. Like, I did get intercepted last time. I think I can make this throw again. I don't even think he's thinking about it that way. I just think he's going right back to doing I don't know what it is. All I know is Dallas showed a lot of inconsistency all the way
I told you, Dak Prescott read defense like Tim Tebow. It was like, wow. I mean, is it true?
Well,
I mean,
Dak's got way more arm talent than Tim Tebow.
He definitely does. And that's the thing about Dak. Dak is not unathletic.
Well, no. I mean, we remember the shots of Tebow just throwing these awkward, wobbling ducks.
Yeah, dead duck.
That's not Dak Prescott by any means.
But no, I said reading defense. I ain't say about player. I said as far as reading defenses, they read just about the same.
and I don't think it's a matter of them actually reading the defense. I think that's really the problem.
I think they got away from doing a lot of and I know they still do utilize a lot of RPO stuff.
Yeah.
But you think when Dak first got to the Cowboys, they ran RPO all the damn time. You didn't know if Zeke was getting the ball. You didn't know if Dak was throwing it to Amari or MG or even CD early on a couple years ago. But then Dak always had the threat to take off. But since Dak got the leg injury during the COVID year, like he has been really hesitant to try to take off again.
He's been hesitant, but then again, once again, we got to also blame the coaching staff. You're going to have to put him in uncomfortable situations. And as you can see, he'll get out and run the ball. But like I said, as a football player, you do pretty much what the offense coordinator tells you. So if he had it was a couple of RPOs they had in there going late in the season, especially in their game against Tampa Bay. And I think that's when Pollard was in the backfield, and they had did a lot of that with Pollard. Oh, it would have been a definite game changer, but they wanted Dak to be in the pocket passer. They wanted to be a pocket passer, and something that we kind of fussed about. Well, I ain't gonna say kind of fussed about that we still let slide up under the radar. In 2019, Jerry Jones paid money for that offensive line.
Yes, he did.
That protected him because that was the same offensive line that was protecting Romo.
Yeah. Now two of those guys are left.
Yes, I was just about to say that. So now,
and one of them who can't stay on the field, and Tyron Smith.
Tyron Smith just can't stay healthy.
So now what Jerry Jones has to do, and I think this is what he's going to do in the draft, is everybody saying he needs to draft a running back. No, Jerry's going to go line heavy because we need a line. If you give Dak Prescott the time, he'll eat you apart.
The only way he'd go lineman is if there's a star receiver that happens to fall somewhere around him, which I don't think is going to happen. But that's the only way I see it.
This is kind of a thin receiver class at top. There's a lot of like depth guys in this draft, but as far as like future star NFL wide receivers, it's really, really thin.
And that's my point. There's no way unless a stud actually will somehow manage to drop, which again I don't think happens. They're going to have to go line. Because this line right now is just not getting it done. I think Tyron is about to be out of there.
The thing too is, me and Chad were talking about this before the show. At some point, that Dallas is going to have to blow this thing up because they have too much money tied up in guys who aren't producing. Tyron Smith eats a lot of money. DeMarcus Lawrence eats a lot of money. Dak Prescott eats a lot of money, which I'm not saying you got to get rid of Dak now, but at some point they're going to have a decision to make. But Zeke eats a lot of money, and you're not getting a lot of money.
Well, Zeke already said he wants to take a pay cut to stay there, because I think he's the first. I think he's the first one on the table that they're going to try to do. I think they're going to try to get a running back in the draft. They're going to franchise Tony Pollard so they can actually get his.
They'll move on from Zeke.
Yeah. I mean, they're preparing to move on from Zeke.
And it's not going to cost them any money this year, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Money.
Well, that's what I mean, but it's not going to be an arm and a leg.
No.
What it is,
you can do worse.
Here, what they probably going to do is, if I'm not mistaken, Zeke got how many years left in that contract? 2? Which would be,
I think 2 that are like standard cap years, and then I think he's got a couple voidable years at the back end of the deal.
Right.
Look, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up right quick.
I think his contract goes all the way to 2027.
So seeing that, so back on the Amari thing real quick. If you'll remember the year they got Amari, how was Dallas's offense doing until Amari got there?
Oh, it was
awful. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't complete passes. They couldn't do anything. Amari comes in, immediate game changer.
Yeah. So if they cut Zeke pre-June 1, they will have 11.86 dead money, and they'll clear up 4.86 in cap space. Now, if they cut him post-June 1, they have 5.8 in dead money, but they free up almost 11 mil.
That's right. Okay, so that's where
that's cut or trade post-June 1.
Exactly. So, I mean, I love Zeke because I love his personality, but I would not be surprised to see him go because, again, it's like JC, we were talking earlier, and JC alluded to it. The Eagles have went from Super Bowl to Super Bowl in 5 years, and there's not hardly anybody left on that first team that's in this team now.
Yeah.
They have blown that thing up twice to get to a Super Bowl. I'm all for that.
The only guys that are still on that team that I can recall are Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox.
There you go.
Those are the only ones that like popped to
teams.
my mind. And that's within 5 years. The Eagles won a Super Bowl, blew up the entire team. They made moves, accumulated first-round picks, moved some of that capital around. They made a smart move drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round. No one thought that would pay off, even up till this year, and of course it did. But within 5 years, here they are again, back at the top of the NFC East, punch their ticket once again to the Super Bowl.
And Dallas has chosen to be mediocre for 28 years because
Jerry Jones is loyal to a fault.
Yes.
He will hold on to guys so much longer than he should. He'll overpay guys who's after one good season.
That's the problem.
That's what kills me the most about the Tank Lawrence deal was that he got that money after getting double-digit sacks in a single season.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done that since.
He hasn't.
And he's a run-stopping defensive end.
Yes.
Like, by all means, he's one of the best run-stopping defensive ends out there. Problem is they got no run-stopping presence in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides Vander Esch, but now check this out. I am looking at how they got it for 2023, like you said, with that dead cap, $11 million, if they was to let him go, but if they were to trade him. But here's the thing: if he restructures that, it may be restructured with an option going forward. Because if you look, from what I'm looking at in 2024. He doesn't have a signing bonus, and everything stays the same, except the dead cap hit drops by almost $5 million.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at is this year they're going. I think, and if Zeke was smart, I know he wants to be number one back, but if you looked at Dallas history with the two-headed monster, I would move to fullback and just pound it. I'd be Marshawn Lynch all day in America. Because they did a taste of it this year. Pollard would take them all the way down to inside the red zone, deep inside the red zone, hand it off to Zeke. Zeke go punch it in. That's a 1-2 punch that you cannot beat.
What was Zeke's stats this year?
He ran for like 800-something yards. Now, he had a lot of touchdowns, but that's just because Tony Pollard would set him up in short yardage situations, and he would vulture him at the goal line.
But still think about that.
Which is beneficial. Like, you need a power back in those goal line situations, which Zeke can do. But for the amount of money that he is making on a per year basis,
yes,
what you're getting from him from a production standpoint is not equivalent.
But I think this is why I think Zeke, that's why he's come out and said, or it's been reported as him saying, he will take a pay cut to stay in Dallas.
Well, his dad came out and said that's not true.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just been reported that way.
Now I can look. I'm looking at it now. Tony Pollard had over 1,000 yards in rushing.
Yep.
Zeke had 876.
Yep.
Even though Zeke had 12 touchdowns, Pollard had 9. Pollard was averaging 5.2 yards a carry, while Zeke was only averaging 3.8 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much as we're looking at
I'm actually surprised this is at 3.8.
Yeah, it didn't even feel like it would be that at times.
Now,
I thought that number was about to be really low like that, but almost 4 yards a carry is not bad.
So you got to think about it. Zeke made $18.22 million this year.
Yeah.
Which was roughly 8.26% of the Dallas Cowboys salary cap.
Yeah.
And that was the production you got from it.
That's right, which you can't have.
Well,
making that kind of money, you've got to produce more.
But check this out, though, and this is real interesting. I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at the receiving core, okay? Now,
this is about to get interesting.
Now, with the receiving core, obviously, CeeDee Lamb had 107 receptions for 1,359 yards, okay?
Yep.
The next person behind him was Dalton Schultz with 57 receptions. This is my problem I have right here. CeeDee Lamb almost got 50 plus more receptions than everybody else on the team.
Yeah,
I feel that's a fault of the offensive coordinator. How come the ball can't be spread out? I mean, I'm not trying to say it needs to be close
I think
to
it
numbers.
is. I think that's also a result of those other receivers not getting open.
Yeah, Michael Gallup did not generate separation this year.
You can watch his plays, and he did not. And Noah Brown.
Noah Brown has never generated
No, he
separation
can't get
since he
separation.
came in the league.
Man, look,
a lot of his are fly routes and quick outs where he can get off and get quick. But if he has to generate separation, he's not going to do it.
Like, honestly, I'm surprised that they haven't moved Noah Brown to tight end years ago. But you think Noah Brown came in that same draft class as Zeke and Dak.
Yeah.
Like, you know what he is at this point. Why are you holding on to him?
But Dallas is notorious for this kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many. Boy, it's tough being a Cowboy fan, folks. It's just tough being a Cowboy fan. I don't know how many other fan bases do what we're doing, like picking apart our own football team.
I'm sure it's all of them.
I'm sure it's a lot.
I'm sure it's all of them.
Because I can't, like we talked about, I can't do the starry-eyed fan thing because that just bugs the hell out of me. But, dude, it's just when you see it, it's like, but what makes you mad is how does the organization not see it? That's what angers you the most.
And the crazy part about it, it's like, how do the organization not see it? I mean, it's just one of those. I think they see it, but it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? This is what we get paid the big bucks for.
Yeah. I think it's more about ego.
They could possibly move off of Tyron Smith's contract this offseason.
That's the one I was thinking.
Now, if they cut him pre-June 1st, they will have to eat $8 million in dead money, but they'll free up $9.5 million.
Oh yeah.
So that's just pre-June 1st. You cut him post-June 1st, they only have to eat $4 million in dead money, but they'll open up $13.6 million in cap space
by post-June 1st.
But a situation for the Cowboys right now is they just announced the new salary cap for this year today. It's $224.8 million is the salary cap for next season. The Cowboys currently, with only 49 guys on the roster, mind you, are over by $10 million.
That sounds right.
That's without signing new free agents. That's without signing a draft class. They currently, right now, are undermanned and $10 million over the salary cap.
There you go. There you go. That's your Dallas Cowboys, ladies and gentlemen.
That sounds like Jared Jones.
And it just, again, it goes back to the whole thing that we're all hitting on is that the reason the Cowboys stay in the situations they stay in is because they hang on to players they shouldn't hang on to. They overpay players based on one great season of production because they believe, they just showed me what they were, and this is going to be everything. This is our new next stud we've got out here. And these guys they fail to live up to this hype that's put on them by upper management. I think by the fans too, because we've seen fans almost talk the Dallas organization into keeping some of these guys at times, because fans will fall in love with a player and go, he is the second coming of insert favorite superstar here of all time for your football team.
Currently, I believe there's only 3 guys on the Dallas Cowboys roster that should be safe. 100% based on their contract and their level of production.
Micah CD,
and take a guess who the third one is.
Zach Martin.
Well, I'm sorry.
4.
There's 4 of them.
Okay.
I did forget about Zach Martin. I don't know. That's on me. But the 4th one would be Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And I know that kind of goes against, I was dumping on him earlier, but do you think you're just going to find somebody at the end of the first? Because the Cowboys have not drafted a first-round quarterback since Quincy Carter.
Yes, and we
saw how that went. So before Quincy Carter, though, the Cowboys hadn't drafted one since Troy Aikman. That was in the 1980s.
Exactly.
Tony Romo was an undrafted guy.
That's right.
Dak Prescott was a compensatory 4th-round guy. So the Cowboys, for whatever reason, don't swing on first-round quarterbacks. Never have. So who's to say when the Cowboys could find someone to even remotely replace
But wasn't it funny? Remember, it seems like just yesterday when the Cowboys were trying to fight to get back into the first round and go grab a quarterback that Denver said, no, we're going to get there first and we're going to get this stud. And it turned out not to be.
Yeah.
They did actually dodge a bullet right there, but that was one that they were actually trying to go for.
You think Jerry Jones was also wanting Johnny Manziel, not because Manziel was just this tremendous football player, but because of the star power of Johnny Manziel.
That's it. They want him just for that.
And Stephen Jones said, hey, no, you see the Zach Martin guy? That's who we need.
Consistent first ballot Hall of Famer, maybe one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. This guy's only given it, 4 sacks in his career?
I'm not sure, but I know that he's made more Pro Bowls than he's had holding penalties in his career.
Which is stupid.
That's a fact.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
But yeah, I'm looking at some of these contract situations, and you think about what you're getting from some of these guys, whether it's production or just sheer availability. Your 5 biggest contracts on this team are Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Zach Martin, DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyron Smith. And the only 2 of those that I would keep with the deal structure that they have currently is Dak Prescott and Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Just correlating availability and production to rate of pay.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, why are you paying these other guys who are not producing? Like I said, Tyron, I love Tyron Smith, but he can't stay on the football field. He hasn't been able to the last few years and get paid an absorbent amount of money.
Yeah. Tyron's deal is worth $97.6 million.
And you got Terrell Smith? Isn't that it?
Tyler Smith?
Not Tyron. Tyler to Terrell. Yeah, Tyler Smith out there just doing great things as a rookie. I think they end up having to move on from him. But if they're going to have to get on the salary cap.
But they also have to get creative with the way they structure some of these deals, as far as, converting yearly bonuses into signing bonuses that don't eat up the salary cap. Yep. Things like that. Because this is what Philadelphia has done so well over the last 5 years, is they move around the money. Yeah, you might have to pay a little extra down the road, but it's allowed them to win a Super Bowl, blow up the team, and be back in contention for a Super Bowl again. And
I would give that up for a Super Bowl every 5 years.
Absolutely.
Why would you not want that? You're not getting into the dynasty mode again. I just don't believe it. I mean, look at Kansas City. 5 years in a row they've been at the top. Yeah. They still have only won 1 Super Bowl.
Well, and here's the wild thing too but they played in 2.
They played in 2.
They're about to play in their third
one, and they're consistently there.
But Dak Prescott lost his number 1 receiver this year, and it felt like he took a step back. Aaron Rodgers lost his number 1 receiver this year, felt like he took a step back.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes lost his number 1 receiver, but all they did was sign 4 more guys who were also speed demons to go up there and provide bodies and targets, because at the end of the day, in that offense, you still have to pay attention 100% of the time to what Travis Kelce's doing.
Yep, he showed that yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, it just shows you what a dynamic, multifunctional tight end can do for an offense, because they don't have any world beaters at running back, but they're productive enough.
Yeah. Everyone wants to make a big thing out of Gronk, and that's great, but Travis Kelce can absolutely do it all, from a getting open, working himself open for a guy. That's why I love Jason Witten, not because he was a speed demon or taller than everybody. He just worked himself open.
He just knew how to run routes.
And that's so important as a receiver. As anybody catching the football, you have to get yourself open. But Cowboys, outside of CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz, who took a huge step forward this year. He made some dynamic plays.
He did, but he also felt disappointing at the same time, which it's kind of weird, because he was super productive.
Yeah.
But he also had some big drops in some situations too.
He did. And, CD had a few of those himself this season. He could have had an even bigger season than what he had, believe that or not, with some of the mistakes they made.
But you know what? That's actually making me go back to a situation in that game. Y'all were talking about how Travis Kelce could get open. I was also looking at the fact when he got open on that touchdown, the DB that was guarding him, he had a lapse in judgment. What I mean by he had a lapse in judgment, it's because when they got to the end zone, you got to think about it. Ain't nothing behind him but the end zone and sideline. So why would you play behind him and leave everything in front of him open?
You can't let a big body guy like that have easy access to the ball.
No, because he's going to run through you.
And that's what exactly happened when he turned around and he kept going toward the back of the end zone. I said, "Oh yeah, Kelce going to catch that with ease." And then there was another play that Chase Allen. I said Chase Allen. That's one of my kids' name.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yeah, man. That man there is a beat. We were arguing about that play he caught on 2 receivers.
Right, he lost 2 DBs at the same time.
Look, They were hollering about where they didn't even, we wouldn't know their vertical abilities. I said, man, forget all that. That man went up to the highest point and got the ball, and the other folks, even if they had even jumped, he still was about 4 feet taller than them.
Yeah, and you got to think T. Higgins also made a crazy play similar to that
Surely
as well
did.
in this play
Surely
in this
did.
game. So
Surely did.
you got to be excited about what the Bengals have going forward. Now, what's about to be the question is how do they structure these salaries because these rookie deals are about to come to an end, and Cincinnati's notorious about not spending money.
Yep, back to that one, and that's true
because they have all the makings to keep this going for another 5 to 10 years.
They're gonna find a way to spend some money. They ain't got no choice. Now, I will say with Cincinnati, they're gonna have to do something about their offensive line.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
Because
and they tried to do that this year, but they just broke down and had some very unfortunate injuries late in the season.
It's not that they weren't trying to get that under because they were doing a good job of it, but those injuries. And that happened to a lot of teams. I mean, again, San Francisco getting hit with all the injuries at quarterback. That is an unbelievable bad string of luck.
Oh, by the way, it turns out Brock Purdy, a complete UCL tear in his right elbow.
Oh, dang.
He's out 6 months.
It's still trying to throw the football. Jeez, there you go, buddy. Hey, look, that's wild. All right, guys, I'm afraid that's all the time we got for today.
Are we doing Drizzler and
we got to get our Drizzler in. Marvin, it's a good thing you're here. All right, so we're going to give out our Drizzler Award, and it is our weekly time. I think, I already know who mine is.
Well, go ahead then.
Oh, mine's the referees in the Chiefs. Come on.
I'm going to say, I think that's unanimous.
Lack of consistency is really the big thing.
I think the drizzling, as we call it, the drizzling shits award would probably be the referees this week.
Because you should. That's not the thing everybody should be talking about today. They should be talking about, wow, a great game was played. But when you have this many people talking about the officiating in a particular game, that's never a good look. And it's not how because it takes away from how the dramaticness of the ending of the football game from the Chiefs overcoming the Bengals finally. It takes away from all that because we're talking about the stupid zebras once again, and we shouldn't be at this point in the season. That's mine.
You're right.
You guys go ahead. Marvin, what you got?
I think mine this week. Oh, let me see. I think the drizzling, as I call it, the drizzling shits award, as you want to say. Man, I think it's got to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason why I say that, not because they not because they won, not because they in the NFC East, and I can't stand them. It's like when you win, you got your chest all out like we've been doing this, and I'm like, man, y'all just got lucky. That's how I look at it. Y'all got lucky when they threw them two guys out. When one of them guys got slammed on the ground.
The 49ers lost their cool a lot in this game.
Oh,
but do you want to know why the 49ers were losing their cool? Because, man, Philly was crying over everything. I'm talking about, did you see the punt where they were crying about it hit the doggone
the sky cam?
Hit the sky cam wire? What you crying about? Play football. Jesus. I mean, and then the officials was like, I mean, we can't determine if it hit it or not, which they couldn't. And then if you go back and we didn't have instant replay, you play the ball where it lay.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The only stadium that has that rule for kick for interference with a kick is Dallas because of that doggone 80-yard scoreboard they have. They are the only stadium that has that rule because we've seen it in effect this year where one of the kickers have hit the bottom of the doggone scoreboard. Now, any other place, there's not a scoreboard sitting over the middle of the field. You don't have that issue.
I just don't think anyone ever expected a sky cam to get hit.
Yeah, I don't think
it's a small target.
That is such a weird thing. Jason,
they didn't hit the cam. Look, they didn't hit the cam. They hit the wire. The wire. Which once again, an even smaller target. You're right.
All right, Jason Drizzler, what you got?
Oh, man, I got to go with the 49ers' attitudes throughout this game. Like, you're in the NFC title game. You're one game away from getting to the Super Bowl. Yes, you don't have a quarterback. Like, I get everything's going wrong. Their defense the Eagles' defense was absolutely tearing the 49ers apart. But a lot of this stuff that was just blatant cheap shots after the play, just letting frustration get the better of them. And I understand people want to come out and they say, oh, well, he's just an emotional player, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If a guy's an emotional player, that's fine. But that does not absolve them of the fact that there are there are consequences to actions.
Well,
So I don't care if you're emotional, but if you lash out in your emotion, that lashing out has consequences for it.
I mean, look at Joey Bosa.
There was a lot of BS attitudes from guys that I wouldn't expect, like Trent Williams.
Yeah.
A guy who's been around for that long to behave the way that he did. I mean, that was just straight up BS. So the 49ers, their mental capacities and emotional intelligence are called into question. They have my Drizzler Award this week.
All right, so let's flip it. Big Kahunas, what you got?
Big Kahuna this week for me is going to be the Eagles defense because those dudes balled out. I mean, yeah, they got fortunate with some injuries, but also the reason they got fortunate with the injuries because they were the ones administering the injuries.
That's true.
They got home, they lit dudes up, they forced 3 turnovers in this game. The Eagles' offense wasn't anything special in particular in this game, but they also didn't have to be because the defense was constantly gifting them short fields.
Yeah.
True. Absolutely spectacular showing by the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
All right. And Marvin, who you got?
Mine is an odd one this week. It is. The Big Kahunas. Well, how you say his name? Sue? Dominican Sue?
And Dominican Sue, yeah.
Big Kahunas. Because when that fight broke out, everybody know the history of Sue getting in it with everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
That man got in Trent Williams' face and calmed him down. An opposing team's player. Mind you, now he just slammed his teammate, man, across the pond on the pad. I'm talking about hard. I'm talking about like one of them Big Daddy Storm Death Valley drivers we just seen this past Saturday. It was something like that. And Sue went up to him and said, man, what you doing, man? Calm down. I said, man, that showed maturity. That showed he has grown up. And he is pretty much through. Well, I ain't going to say he's through with the shenanigans. What's to say coming down a couple of weeks from now. But in that moment, he showed his maturity. Big kahunas to him.
Mine goes to Brock Purdy. And for one reason and one reason only, the fact that you got a torn UCL anyway. And this is before I even knew he had a torn UCL. But the fact that you're at least trying to go back out on the field. Because I remember when, what's the kid's name? Got the concussion.
Josh Johnson.
He got that concussion and got slammed down, which I thought was going to be a penalty right there for them coming down on top of him the way they did. They didn't
throw it. They didn't throw it.
So I thought, oh, my God, man, this is about to get ugly. And then you saw Christian McCaffrey over. They're going to put him in. And then Brock Purdy comes back out there and at least makes the attempt to try to go out there for his team before he can't do it.
Literally doesn't have an elbow at that point.
He doesn't. It would be easy to give it to Patrick Mahomes because he played the high ankle sprain and probably deserved it.
And he killed it. He went off for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He did. He played a hell of a game. You cannot take that away from him. Excellent. To me, Joey B, same way. Travis Kelce's another one you could have went and stuck it to. There's a lot of guys
you could have gave it to McCaffrey because when the offense went down, McCaffrey stepped up, got a score. They leaned a lot on him, and for the most part, he produced.
Yeah, but this is a rookie who, at the end of the season, turned it on for San Francisco, came in there, tried to play through a hellacious. He tried to play through what turned out to be a hellacious injury. Couldn't do it. Kudos to that kid. He may never get another one of these again. Who knows what he's going to be going forward? We don't know. But we do know that he tried to step up and play. And, hey, you get mine. So, before we go, when is the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl is in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right?
Yep. So the next week is the Pro Bowl, which there will be almost nothing to talk about coming out of that. So what I want to do on next week's show is I want to get into our awards for the season.
Because seasonal awards.
Yes.
Marvin, you want to join us next Monday?
So the NFL.
Was it next Monday? Let me see. I should have some time. I'll let you know this weekend.
All right, seasonal awards.
Yeah, we know the NFL honors happens usually, I think, the night before the Super Bowl. So we'll actually get ahead of the NFL on they're giving their awards out.
That's right.
We'll give out ours, offensive and defensive rookies of the year.
I think the NFL awards is on Thursday. I think that's on Thursday this year.
Well,
It's on
it'll
Thursday
still
this
be
year.
after our show's over and we've given out
Okay.
our awards, so we won't have any bias involved.
That's right.
There'll
So
be
we can go ahead
nothing.
and say what we want to say.
Yeah, we'll give out the awards to who we feel deserves what. So that'll be a special episode for next week.
Let's do that. Oh,
Okay.
and one more thing, Marvin. Baby girl wants to say hello. She just wants you to know that and, you know, she appreciates you coming on the show this morning too. So, baby girl, and I will see you Saturday, Marvin.
Oh my goodness! Hey, you know what? I can't do nothing. Hey.
She sure looks
Oh,
good on
good.
my shoulder, buddy. She sure looks good on this shoulder.
Oh my goodness! Hey, look, I had a ball. I had a ball too, because y'all do not understand holding a camera and trying to film you guys when y'all are at those doggone fans, and I have to remember I might have to use this audio. Oh my goodness!
Oh Lord, I think we were at them for 20 minutes after that show ended Saturday.
Yeah, I was at it
minutes.
for 20. I think I filmed for 10.
And they weren't leaving.
And they wasn't. They were not
leaving.
They were not leaving. They didn't care what the weather was like outside. They didn't care who was there. What, none of that. They did not care. But
Nope.
man, look, if you got some free time, like I said, we firing up at 8:00 tonight.
All right.
We got 8:00 tonight, because like I said, some of this stuff that was talked about today, oh, I can tell you right now, it's going to boil over to our show, because everybody, we already been talking about the Kellen Moore situation.
Yeah.
That's gonna really get some run. I know the referee situation is gonna get some run.
Can imagine.
It is, man. Look, I know we're gonna have a fast paced hour come 8:00 tonight. So if you want to join, look. So if you want to join in, the link ain't changed. It's permanent. Hit that thing, and I see you in there.
All right, brother. Appreciate you coming on.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right, out, buddy. All right, guys. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a couple of more shows. So next week, decide who you think is your top guys. We're going to talk about who our awards guys are, who we think, right?
Absolutely.
Top players of the season, MVP, offense, defense,
Rookies
all
of the
that good
year,
stuff. Rookies of the year.
best quarterback, best running back, best wide receivers. We make a
All
whole
of
big deal out of it.
There's a lot of guys out there who stood out this season. It should be a little controversial, maybe.
Maybe.
Sometime on some of them.
You know, we'll
Some
see.
not so much.
You gotta. I mean, at the same time, though, you gotta look at the numbers and make it the best informed decision that we can.
That's right. Before Aaron Rodgers becomes a Dallas Cowboy. Is that what we're talking
You mean
about?
a New York Jet?
Yeah, I would pay money to see that, actually.
Aaron Rodgers throwing to Garrett Wilson. Boy.
That would be something, really. Guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a great week. Stay safe out there.